Everyone, Abel in Vegas here. Hope everyone is doing well. Today happens to be Tuesday, October 29th, and I am live recording this video, not because I wanted to actually have you guys on, just because I wanted to avoid having to edit the video. So hopefully I am clear in what I have to say. But as you see by the title, I wanted to talk about the art of selling. And I am a PSA Collector Club subscriber. So we get this magazine called the SMR, which what does SMR even stand for? I wonder if that says it in here. But anyhow, but the reason I have this magazine in front of me, because I don't know if you could tell, but there's an article in this month that's called The Art of Letting Go. And it intrigued me because, one of the things that I have trouble with is actually selling stuff in my collection. I've sold some stuff and I've never put the effort into learning a lot of the actual selling piece. And there's a lot of cards that I haven't sold because I've been of the mindset of what if that is the big card, or fall into the trap, for example, of Mike Trout, where, I didn't buy his cards early. And now it's like you miss out because, I'm a big fan of collecting the Bowman cards and I like to open Bowman wax. Hopefully trying to hit a big card, because even for the newer prospects, it's hard to hit or buy, some of those orange cards because they are pretty pricey, even at the very young age, especially for the promising kids. And like I said, they may or may not turn out, but in the case of somebody like Trout, you try to buy an orange refractor now and you need $250,000. But just imagine if you would be able to pull one of those. But this art intrigued me. It was actually written by Joe Orlando, which, it's funny, we haven't really talked much about him anymore. I won't go into the whole article. If you guys are subscribers, that's maybe something that maybe you read, maybe you didn't. But I have a lot of cards in my collection. And actually, many thanks to Filmington, who you could say thanks to his videos, it has opened an eye, at least for me, about selling. And Phil has been nice enough to even sit down and have conversations on the phone. So I really do appreciate that. I have been going through my collection. I posted a YouTube video about me selling cards, but that hasn't had many hits. But I was telling Phil that we have local shows here in town. They're not as often. So I've been going through now and marking cards and pricing them so that I'm thinking about tabling. Our next show happens to be in December. Like, here's this rookie card of the Cup logos, just stuff that I wouldn't mind selling. Some basketball, immaculate stuff. Tony Romo. Like, I don't collect the certain players. Here's a Patrice Bergeron, a 1/1 immaculate card. Blue refractor of Max Kepler. So I've just been going through and pricing, pretty much preparing myself for a show. And so, like I said, I was intrigued by this article. And there's two pointers that I mainly took from this article that I'll share with you guys. And Jordan makes 2 points. And he says, when it comes to selling a collectible, it should come down to one simple question. And that is, if you wanted to, could you replace that collectible down the road? So most of the items can be replaced because the majority of cards exist in a large amount or quantity. Obviously, the exception is the obscure issues or rare cards. Like, so when it comes to selling, for example, Pete Alonso, these is one of the cards that I put in my bin to sell. Like a lot of people are saying, well, don't you want to collect Pete Alonso's? But a Pete Alonso rookie card, you'd be able to find several quantities. Why should I um, not be okay with not letting this go? So that was a very intriguing article, some good points. But it brings me to today's point. So today we had game 6 of the World Series, which the Nationals happen to have won. So there's going to be a game 7 tomorrow. I really don't care much for watching the baseball game. So today I didn't watch the game until I got home, and it was already I want to say the 7th inning. Tonight was the only night my sister had some availability, and she wanted to go watch the Joker movie. So we went and watched that, which was just fabulous, fabulous movie. Now I want to go and watch it again, just to see if I missed anything. But I just thought it was a fantastic movie. So I sent a text to Phil because I happen to have, as I showed before, 3 Steven Strasburg's gold rookie cards. And my question was, should I have listed one of these cards, either a week ago, so that the bidding ended, this week? Should I have done it yesterday? Or should I do it tomorrow? And again, after reading this article, it's like these are numbered to 50. Do I need to replace one if I sell one? Possibly not, because I have 2 more. When I first originally got these 3, I remember at my hobby shop, they said, these 3 graded pretty well. You could always sell the 2 to make the money back for what you paid for the 3 of them, and just keep the 10. Because of the 3 of them, one of them has a 10 designation for edges. The other ones are 9.5s with 9s. So it's not quad 9s, but the ones that I've seen, it's there's only like 1 or 2 pristines. But in after I put this on eBay, I started asking myself, is Steven Strasburg on track to possibly make the Hall of Fame? When he pitches, he's been fantastic. He's been injured. I think he had to miss a year for Tommy John. So I went and I have this spreadsheet, which I don't think I've shown you guys yet, and I do plan to show you what I did, what these spreadsheets that I created in a future video. But in looking at Steven Strasburg, I figured, what modern day pitcher has made it to the Hall of Fame that we could use as of kind of a line to determine if somebody like Steven has a chance to make it to the Hall of Fame. And the pitcher that I chose was Roy Halladay. Now, for his career, Roy Halladay had 203 wins over 416 games. He pitched 2,749 innings. He had 2,117 strikeouts. He averaged 6.9 strikeouts for every 9 innings. And his whip, which I don't think it really is a major number, but his whip was 1.18. So when you look at Steven Strasburg's numbers, as of the end of this season, 2019, he has already amassed 112 victories over 239 games. He's pitched 1,437 innings, has 1,695 career strikeouts, has 10.60 strikeouts per 9 innings. So when he's pitching, he's on and he strikes you out. And his whip is 1.06, which is 0.12 better than Roy Halladay. So I projected Steven Strasburg. My calculation projects the player's stats up to the point where he's going to be 40 years old. I don't know if he'll pitch until he's 40 years old. But let's just say that, let's just say for purposes of my estimation, let's say he does, then He's projected based on averages to reach 224 career wins if he pitches to age 40. And by the way, so for example, in in 2010 he only he played 12 games, won 5. In 2011 he pitched 5 games and won 1. Then in 2012 he pitched 28 games, won 15. 2013 he pitched 30, won 8. So that was his what you would consider his worst season. But then after that, he's been averaging 14, 11, 15, 15, 10, and 18 wins. This in 2019 marked his career high in games pitched, which was 33, and also in innings pitched, which he actually that's not correct. In innings pitched in 2015 and 2014, he got to 215 innings pitched, and in 2019 he got to 209, which was his highest over the past 5 years. And then in strikeouts, in 2019 he did amass 251 strikeouts for the year. So he's projected, based on averages, he's projected to pitch in 478 career games if he pitches to his 40, which would be 62 more than Roy Halladay. For innings pitched, he's projected to get to 2,875, which would be 128 more than Roy Halladay. He's projected to get 3,390 strikeouts, which would be 1,200 more than Roy Halladay. His strikeouts per 9 innings, he's on target to pitch 10 strikeouts per 9 innings, which would be 4 strikeouts more than Roy Halladay. And he's projected a career whip of 1.06, which would be just a hair better than Roy Halladay. So my question now that I'm thinking is, does Steven Strasburg have the potential to be in the Hall of Fame? And if he is, then maybe I shouldn't be selling these and I should be saving these, if that makes sense. But I don't know. The art of letting go. Can I replace it? Is he a pitcher that I originally did buy these because I saw him pitch in person? So in my collection, I'm a big fan of having cards of players that I've seen in person. And like I said, he pitched for San Diego State University. So he played against my university, UNLV. So that's why I knew who he was. So he's not from Vegas like Harper or Bryant. But anyway, those are just the thoughts of looking at a player, looking at his potential. A lot of players thought that maybe he was, because of the craze that he got when he first came onto the league. And I remember that game, his first career game in Washington. I mean, I think the game ended up being on ESPN and people were just going nuts. The amount of attention that he got when he first came onto the league. And that was back in 2010. So now you're looking at 9 years later, even though he battled through some injuries, when he's pitching, he's getting strikeouts. He's a strikeout pitcher. He's not going to get close to, obviously, Nolan Ryan, because Nolan Ryan is over 5,000 strikeouts. But it's interesting to now look at his possible outlook and can he reach that potential of making it to the Hall of Fame, which of course, if so, then by then this card might then be more valuable in a few years down the road. And then it makes me think back at that article. Like I said, can it be replaced? There's 50 of these, so I could possibly replace it later down the road. Probably won't because, like I said, I have another one. So we'll see. I did post one on eBay. It started at 9:10, so I did it for 24 hours. So I think The ideal situation would be for the Nationals to win the World Series, and maybe somebody might look at it and bid between now and then. Um, but if it doesn't sell, it's also no biggie. Um, but we'll see. And who knows? People might not be bidding on it because if Nationals do win, they're out celebrating. So they're not looking at eBay. So the whole conundrum. But anyway, very interesting thoughts. I'm going through and just getting some dollar bins ready, just getting ready for, selling at or tabling at a show. We'll see how we do, and then just learn from that and being able to, like I said, I'm not selling just because um, I want to sell because I have so much cards that I'm never going to know what to do with. And then there's other cards that I want to get now that the way I collect kind of has changed. Now I'm going after more player specific cards that I want to have in my collection, like adding like the recent trots that I added to my collection. So that's kind of my goals right now. So anyway, if you stayed through this, awesome. Thank you so much. Let me know what you think in the comments about if you have access to that article and reading about selling. Like I said, it's pretty interesting. If it's not replaceable, like there's certain cards in my collection that, like one of ones, um, those will probably be the cards you can't replace, so you wouldn't sell. But other cards that are very replaceable, then yeah, why not? That way you get something that may not be replaceable, or at least fits more into what you're trying to do into your collection. So I think that's it. Before I continue to ramble on and lose sense of what I was jumping on for. So if you did watch, thanks for watching. We'll see what happens in Game 7, and we'll go from there. Thanks, guys, and have a good night.